What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Choops, how we doing, my friend?
Fantastic. It's another great night here on the Wrestling Junkies podcast presented by the Main Event Network. We're interviewing another wrestler. Let's get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next guest is a mainstay for Rise Wrestling, Prospect Pro Wrestling, and Eclipse Wrestling. He is the social media icon, Tad Jarvis. Tad, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all. Like Chris said, we love talking to wrestlers, and that's what we're about here, and just good conversation and good time. So let's just get right on into it. Here at the Wrestling Junkies podcast, we believe that all wrestlers are superheroes, and every superhero has an origin story. So, Tad, tell us about your earliest memories of pro wrestling.
So as a kid, my family always watched wrestling. So ever since I was in diapers, we watched WWF to WCW. And when I was in kindergarten, my teacher asked me, "What did you want to be when you grow up?" And my response was, "I want to be the Undertaker." Now here's the thing, my teacher, she immediately called my mom. She was frightened, and she goes, your son, she said that he wants to be the Undertaker. That's kind of concerning me. She goes, "Oh, no, no, no. I think you got it all wrong. He wants to be the Undertaker from WWF, the wrestler." She goes, "Oh, that makes so much more sense now." And like now thinking about it, I'm like, what is so bad about being an Undertaker, you know? But uh, my family was divided. I was a Rock fan. My mom was a big Stone Cold fan growing up, and my grandfather was a big Goldberg fan. So we had WCW, we had WWF, and we had the two guys that were hot at the time. So um, I knew it's something I wanted to do ever since I was young. I, of course, wrestled with my brother and my cousins, and I happened to find the Stronghold Wrestling Academy, and the rest was history.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we were an Undertaker house as well, so happy to hear that. We can see you have the jacket on, or the quarter zip, or whatever we want to call those. Eric is more familiar with those than me. Your all-time favorite wrestler is The Rock. What's your
Yeah,
all-time
hands down.
favorite? What's your all-time favorite Rock match?
Oh, that's a tough one. Uh, I would make it easy. Anytime he would wrestle Austin, I say WrestleMania when he took the camera and he started talking trash to the crowd, and then he came back and then he gets to the Stone Cold Stunner. It's just moments like that is what made me love The Rock so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that match was more iconic to me than any other match that he had. Not saying that his other matches weren't great, but that's
Yeah,
the one that stands out the most for me.
I think that's WrestleMania 15, if I'm not mistaken.
I want
Eric,
to,
Yeah, there was. It
I
was.
think so. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's such an iconic moment. I mean, when you think about the build to those three matches, I mean, that was just them getting started because once
Mm-hmm.
2001 comes along and that, I mean, obviously the teaser from My Way is forever goated and just,
Forever.
it's just amazing. And that was just, who knew what they had on their hands with that particular trilogy. So, we love The Rock here and can't wait to see what he does on the road to WrestleMania. But,
Uh,
yeah, we'll see. We will absolutely see. Do you have any thoughts on what you would like to see him do?
so here's my thing. I would like to see Roman lose the title before he fights The Rock. Here's the reasoning why. I don't think you need the title to tell the story. The story's already here. And The Rock already has his whole scenario of the titles that he's won. He's already great. He's already a Hall of Famer by the time he retires. So needing another title, being the undisputed title, that's like Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker for the streak. It didn't make really any sense, but it happened anyways. Um, I think you tell that story. Do you give it to Roman? I don't know. Do you give it to The Rock? I don't see it. It evens itself out. So I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. I would like to see The Rock win it because, I'm the old school. I love The Rock, but I wouldn't be mad because I also acknowledge my tribal chief too. So
We do as well.
yeah.
Oh man, Eric, you're up, my
But
friend.
Oh yeah. So you you trained with Thea Hale when you went to wrestling school. Tell us about the first time that you met Thea Hale.
it's actually really funny. So we normally have students come in, people come in, they want to do tryouts and stuff. And at the time, we really didn't have much of a big turnout for people wanting to come train. But uh, it was during COVID, and we were training inside of I don't want to say 20 by 20. Um, I don't even know what to call it. Just a small building. It's pretty much like a garage. And this girl, she started training. Her dad's there with them, and I'm watching her start to do moves, and I'm like, she's phenomenal. She's like really good. Um, and ever since, like we've had a really good friendship. She's always been very nice, very polite. Um, and it's just the way she would work, the way she would always sit and listen and write down notes, and it was really cool to see somebody younger than me, who just got in, and she was just hungry for it. You don't really see that much with some of these kids. After you take a few bumps, it hurts. Like I'm not gonna lie, everybody says wrestling ring or trampolines. Mm-mm. I'll tell you that right now, firsthand. But I remember we got word that she had a WWE tryout. We knew that she did get on AW Dark, and I remember it was me, Cowpoke Paul, her. I want to say there was somebody else. After training one day, we went to go talk, and we started to talk about. We were eating tacos and burritos, and we were talking about, her tryout. She was nervous, she's excited, and she was beyond excited. And sure enough, um, WWE was like, "Yep, this is our girl." And we knew before everybody else knew that she was already signed before she, graduated high school, which is
Yeah.
unheard of. So,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
I'm telling you,
that's insane.
her original name when she came in was, um, what did she go with? Because I'm so used to calling her Thea now. Um, we have a big old poster and her name's on it. I'm gonna blank for a minute, but I'm
That's
sure
okay.
I'll come back to it and I'll give
Sure.
you her actual name she was training with at the time.
No,
So,
that's fine. You can
Yeah.
interrupt Eric anytime. I do all the time. That's fine.
Yeah. He does.
So Eric and I are both big gamers. Like 2K23. We have a couple spreadsheets that we like to play in universe mode. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
However, community creations is a thing, and you're on there. How crazy is that?
it's actually really crazy, to be honest. It's amazing to see um how much of an impact you can make on somebody's fans where they want to be you in these WWE games. You know, I'm still on the independent scene. I'm not where, you know, or um guys like Roman and Seth Rollins are. Do you want me instead of those guys? I'm flattered. So, and funny enough, on Twitter, it just popped up before I jumped on here. One of my good friends actually made one of me too, and he asked for all my tattoos and everything. So
Nice.
he modified it, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
So have you downloaded yourself?
I can't say that I haven't. So come on, you're in a video game. Of course, you want to play as yourself at least once or
Oh yeah.
twice. So.
Hey, I'm not. There's no judgment here. If somebody
Yeah.
wants to
Oh
make the
no.
podcast dad, I'm here.
Sure. So you're very active on social media. You also call yourself the social media icon. What advice would you give to aspiring wrestlers as they're trying to navigate their social media presence as they're getting started?
So this is the best advice I can give. Don't get into politics. Politics is going to be your biggest setback because no matter what you say or what you do, no matter what your role is, if you're a baby or a heel, keep playing it. Don't get into, oh well, maybe I was too rude, or hey, what if I was too nice here? You got to set those boundaries. You got to understand that what you're doing is business, and you can't let religion, politics, and other things come in the way of that. Um, but at the same aspect, you have to make your presence known. You can't use certain language to um, make up for most of your stuff. So, for example, if I'm cussing in every promo, or if I'm cursing a lot in my my tweets, or stuff like that, then okay, now I'm starting to use that as a handicap to where I can't make a good promo, or I can't do good uh post for that reason. People think that I can't talk without saying certain words.
Sure.
So my thing is, uh find your style, be confident in it, and use it. Don't worry about what others use, what others say. Take advice, listen to it. If it applies, great. If not, try something else. That was the wise words of Scotty Too Hottie himself that told me that. So,
Very
Wow,
nice. Very nice.
that's an awesome story. That's
yeah.
really cool. You competed in 2PW's first ever lumberjack match against JJ Rumham. What are some of the unique challenges that come with doing a type of match like that?
Oh, you see, here's the thing: is lumberjack matches, you got to be ready for everything and anything. Those guys, they hate you. Those heels, they hate you as much as the babies hate them. And you got to stay on your toes, because me and JJ, we go back for about a year. We actually met over at Eclipse, which is now 814 Wrestling. They all merged together, AON and 814. And 2PW, we actually, that's where we started clashing, because he felt offended that I didn't have my match with him, because I actually had an injury due to my rotator cuff. And I had a good friend of mine, Calpo Paul, fill in for me. Well, he took that as an offense that I never wanted to wrestle him, which led to this big old rivalry that we had. And it went back to match to match. So which led to, like, month after month, which led to him coming out with a steel chair and popping me in the head, then coming out and distracting me once again, and then hit me again with another chair. And after a while, taking too many chair shots, you're done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need some backup. You need some friends that's in your corner. So when 2PW management said, "Hey, this is it. This is going to be the match." Unfortunately, did I happen to fall short? Yes, but through that whole time, you're here. What's my next step? How am I 2 steps ahead of JJ? How do I make sure that I'm not over on his side, getting beat up by the guys on the outside? So it's a really good and big mentality game for you. So for future matches, now I'm a little more experienced. Now I know what I'm looking for whenever I go into my next lumberjack match. So
Very
Awesome.
cool. Very cool. You also had a unique experience at Rise Wrestling. Shane Douglas refereed your match for the Rise Grand Championship against Ron Mathis, I believe this past October. When did you find out that Shane was refereeing your match, and how did you react?
I was actually at training, because I helped train some of our younger students who actually are coming into the Stronghold, and I get a text message from Brandon Kay. Hey, good news. I think you're gonna like this. I said, what's that? He said, Shane Douglas is gonna be the special guest referee. For a minute, I said, no, you're messing with me. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
Shane Douglas, the ECW legend, is gonna come here and wrestle a match. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding you. He will be here. And I'm like, way to put a little more pressure on me, to have that ECW legend with me in the
Yeah.
ring. But it was a really awesome and cool experience. Shane was a very um, down to earth guy. So I love the dude. He's great. Unfortunately, I did happen to fall short, because a guy named Jason Hendricks happened to put his nose in some business and cost me the match. So
He
Okay.
better watch his. He better watch his back. I
Yeah,
will
sounds
say
like we got
that.
a
these
grudge match loading here.
December, we actually had our final our match, and I happened to get one up on him. I mean, he had me almost. He gave me a good super kick and connected. I was almost out of it, but I came back and happened to get it. So good
That's,
recovery at the end of the year.
that's what we like to hear. That's what we like
Love
to
it.
hear. So you competed at the 7-year anniversary show for Rise. What are some of your favorite moments in that promotion?
Oh my goodness. When I first started watching it, we had my trainer Brandon Kay against Duke Davis. Duke Davis is a monster. If you don't know Duke, he's part of the main event, him and Gannon Jones Jr. Duke is a 6'6" monster. That's all I can say. And they had a table match, if I'm not mistaken. And watching the experience against the muscle was just phenomenal of a match. And then, which is even cooler, is having Lee Moriarty be the Rise Grand Champion for a while and just watching him compete throughout the time that he was there and retaining the championship. It's just amazing to see how he can move and work. So it's phenomenal. And getting to work with Lee was like, it's like, hey, can you just like get it all fours for me for a minute? And like, I'm just gonna try this move. Next thing you know, like you're in a pretzel, and it's like, how'd you do that? You know?
Yeah.
So, uh, but it's just seeing guys like that, Duke, again, Brandon Kay. This is going to be his final tour, which is really awesome to see. Megan Myers, who's been on AEW Dark, who's been with Daddy Ass, doing his thing. She's been down at the Nightmare Factory and everything. So I watched her and Christian War go on to take on some of the biggest tag teams there was. So it's a really awesome history once you go back and you start seeing. So like you see, again, Lee when he first started to where he is now with, Shane Taylor. So
Very
Nice.
it's
cool.
really cool to see all the history throughout it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Um, we've been spending the better part of 17 minutes talking all Tad Jarvis. Now we want to give you the opportunity to let us know some other names. I know that you've named a few just now, but what are some other names that we should be on the lookout on the indie scene right now?
So one that comes to my head because we trained together for so long, and as much as I don't like the dude, as much as we clash heads, I cannot not give the roses to the man, which is ACA, Alexander Charles VIII. Um, he just had a uh, championship match for the Rise Grand Championship against Cowpoke Paul this past Saturday. It was mustache for the championship. So if he lost his,
Love that.
he lost his fancy little mustache that he had. And no spoiler alerts, because I'll let you guys, if you guys go back to want to go see, I'll give you that. But
Yeah.
anytime we're in the ring, I got to make sure that I'm like 20 steps ahead because he knows me in and out as much as anybody else. I've watched him fight guys like uh, the roller, the roller, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, and I watched him fight Crazy Steve. The dude's just good. I'm not even gonna give any crap there because you got to give credit where credit's due. My good friend Calpo Paul, he is phenomenal. He has the charisma that could get a whole church going. So I'm telling you guys, he's phenomenal. Guys that I would look at coming up now is oh my gosh. I mean, you also have the Runway. They're an amazing tag team. They are phenomenal. Don't ever sleep on them. I've done that before, and of course I've had my fair share listening to those guys, but um, oh my gosh, there's so many guys, and I don't want to like undercut any of those guys. You have the Freak Show over at 814. They're phenomenal people. Um, the Brotherhood, three guys who I would definitely don't want to be on the other side of the ring with. So those are guys that I would say to keep my eyes on for the year of 2024 for sure.
Awesome.
Okay.
We are always
Yeah.
looking for new wrestlers to watch, and those are some great recommendations. So another question that we always like to have, and it's a debate between Eric and myself,
Hmm.
is Mr. WrestleMania, and you have two choices: is it Shawn Michaels or is it The Undertaker?
So as much as I want to say it's The Undertaker because he has the streak, it is Shawn Michaels. I
You
have to
said
say
you wanted to
it's
be
Shawn
the
Michaels.
Undertaker.
Thank you.
I know that. You got to understand though too. I was like 5, so
I still want to be
But
the Undertaker.
I, I, I would too. And you say, here's the thing that I love about Taker too is he's a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Unfortunately,
No,
this
no, no, no,
I'm a I
no,
listen.
no,
I'm a
no, no,
Boys
no, no.
fan. He's a
No,
Boys
no, no, no,
fan,
no, 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 no,
so
no.
we followed up. But trust me, my heart broke watching the first half of that game, and I turned it off. I knew it was like every year. But I feel I love Taker. Taker is WrestleMania in and out. You say WrestleMania, you automatically think Taker because of the streak. But here's what I get with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, and I say this, is the greatest wrestler of all time. Shawn Michaels has never put on a terrible match, if you ask me. I get it. I understand the Hogan and Michaels match, but it was still entertaining. It was still entertaining. So the way that Michaels performs at WrestleMania is just phenomenal. It's unheard of, especially when it's him and Flair, and then it's him and Taker for the retirement match.
Yeah.
Then you go a couple years later, and then he's the special guest referee for the end of an era match, which
Yep.
as a referee, he played a significant part. You just super kick Taker for him to lose the match, and he kicks out, and now you're like all
Yeah.
broken into two because these are your two best friends. So I have to say it's Shawn Michaels.
You got
So
two
talk.
strikes. You got two
Yeah.
strikes there
Yeah.
because you pick Shawn Michaels and then you're a Cowboys fan. I am an Eagles fan, so
Uh,
I know your
yeah.
pain. I know your pain. Overhyped and choked, so it's okay.
Yeah, yep.
Well, as we draw this interview to a close, Tad, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, what events do you have coming up, and how can everybody find you on social media?
So, of course, for our next show, I believe it's February 10th, Rise Pro Wrestling. We also do have 814 Wrestling on February the 3rd, I believe. I will be defending my 814 championship
It's a good looking belt.
against Steve Savage.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. It's heavy too, man. It's like a good 20 pounds. Um, I will be going against Steve Savage. For Rise, I don't know who my competitor is. I always tell them, give me, big challenge. So I'm excited for that. And also for 2PW, I will be in for they call it World War III, which is a tournament for a opportunity for a championship. So, a shot. So, I'm in a fatal four-way for that. I'm against David Lawless, Vic Braun, um, of course, JJ Rumham, and then myself. And then whoever wins out of that, and out of the other 2 or 3 brackets, then we all come together for the final match to see who conquers. So I'm hoping that I've studied enough these guys to where I can come out with a title shot for that too. So, and to make sure you follow me, I am on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. I'm on it all. Just that real Tad Jarvis. So.
Awesome. Give him a
Perfect. Well,
follow,
Tad,
guys.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Tad, thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Hope to have you back on the show again in the very near future. Can't wait to hear all about what goes on these next couple of months for you. But thank you guys for watching this episode of the Wrestling Junkies podcast. For the social media icon Tad Jarvis, for the podcast dad Chris Hoops, I am Mr. Cincinnati. We'll talk to you guys soon.